cantata? Ma che dolce poesia!
No. Abbiamo cantato quella canzone per 6 anni.
Come tutti del resto.
Una novità ci vuole.
Ci siamo!
Tocca a noi!
È il nostro momento!
Hakuna Mufasa.
Questo nome è poesia!
Silenzio! Zitti!
Vieni, Kiara. Ti racconto una storia. La storia di un destino che avrebbe cambiato per sempre le nostre vite.
Ciao, sono Taka. Come ti chiami?
Mufasa!
Voglio da sempre un fratello.
Taka, tu sarai il futuro re. Non fare amicizia con i randagi.
Non sono un randagio, sono solo perso.
Vedo la terra del branco oltre l'orizzonte. Trova il tuo posto nel cerchio della vita.
Ma 2 leoni non fanno un branco. Dobbiamo trovare altri che ci aiutino.
Rafiki vi guiderà.
Oh, amici!
Lui è Zazu, non mangiatelo.
Fantastico! Un altro randagio reietto che non mangeremo.
Ogni cosa toccata dalla luce appartiene a me.
Arrivano! Perché corro invece di volare? Combattiamo insieme.
Tu hai rubato il mio destino. Mufasa, è il tuo momento.
Benvenute e benvenuti a un nuovo appuntamento con Soggettiva. Qui parliamo di cinema, spettacolo e serie TV in uno spazio aperto e dedicato al libero dibattito. Abbiamo appena visto il nuovo trailer Disney del film Mufasa, il Re Leone, al cinema nelle sale italiane per l'appunto oggi 19 dicembre. Ma abbiamo tantissime cose di cui parlare, quindi non perdiamo tempo. Mufasa, il Re Leone, racconta attraverso Rafiki la leggenda di Mufasa alla giovane cucciola di leone Kiara, figlia di Simba e Nala, con Timone e Pumba che offrono il loro caratteristico spettacolo. Raccontata attraverso flashback, la storia presenta Mufasa, un cucciolo orfano, perso e solo, fino a quando incontra un leone comprensivo di nome Taka, erede di una stirpe reale. L'incontro casuale dà il via al viaggio di uno straordinario gruppo di sventurati alla ricerca del proprio destino. I loro legami saranno messi alla prova mentre lavorano insieme per sfuggire a un nemico minaccioso e letale. Alla regia di questa pellicola Disney Barry Jenkins e al montaggio Joy McMillan. Ma andiamo a vedere cosa hanno raccontato.
For me, I guess I'll go first. For me, the previous film, The Lion King, at the end, Mufasa and Scar have this fight, and there's like a fire that happens down below. But because this movie is a prequel, I thought instead of fire, it should be water. And there's this saying, James Baldwin has a book called The Fire Next Time, and it's based on this spiritual that says, God gave Jonah the rainbow sign, no more water, the fire next time. And so I thought, oh, we'll be the water next time. And so you see that water has a lot of meaning for Mufasa, and it's sort of this thing, especially when you see the entire film, that he has to constantly pass through to sort of fulfill his destiny, to sort of fulfill himself, his self-actualization. So we tried to like think of it, but not have it be like text so much, but it's nice to have this energy around the whole film that everyone knows they can respond to.
Yeah, I think Barry spoke about one of the common threads throughout the movie is water. And one of the things that I think Barry does really well in telling the story is the versatility of the usage of water. It's both a trial and a tribulation, but also a cleansing. And that's one of the things you'll see as Mufasa goes on this journey, the different aspects where we brought water into the story. It's interesting because my first assistant editor, Daniel, he has twins, and they're 6. And he was saying that oftentimes when they watch movies with their kids, they don't really know how to express what they're feeling, but they'll just say too much, or they'll say, oh, I want to watch it again. And I think what Mufasa does really well in the way Barry tells the story is as you're processing things, you may not, as a child, know quite what you're feeling, but there's something about it that you're engaging with. and you kind of want to see where Mufasa goes on the story. And I think the thing that's really cool is oftentimes the songs that occur throughout the film are not telling you how to feel, but showing you how to feel. And I think Barry does a really good job of incorporating the story of Mufasa, but also the emotional architecture of a story.
Yeah, I don't have kids myself, but I do think you're right. As you make a film like this, you sort of have to think that some of the things that the kids are seeing in this film, they might be seeing a movie for the first time or seeing it in a movie for the first time. And I love that, we're allowed to sort of allow the complexity within the movie. For example, there's some things that happen to Mufasa that he doesn't understand, like how to deal with at first. It takes time, and it takes him listening to others to really understand his own feelings and how to process them. And I think that's really cool for kids to see, because some of the things they experience in this film, they're going to experience for the first time, and they may not understand it at first, but it's nice to know that you can give yourself time to understand things. Yeah, I think it was incredibly important, especially exactly the way you said it. It's okay to not understand things at first. It's okay to admit that something is because of a thing you did, because you still have the opportunity to now address it, to fix it, to correct it. We live in a time right now where things are so black and white. If you're wrong, you're going to be wrong forever. If you make a mistake, that mistake is going to last forever. And I love that we have this character, Mufasa, who's so great, and that you get to see him make mistakes. We know they don't last forever because we know that he was king in 1994. But it's really wonderful to go on this journey with him and really get to see, how he, responded to those mistakes, and how he didn't repeat them. Top aspect in the movie for me. That's my simple answer. You?
Yeah, it's a lovely thing to see, Mufasa find his family, and realize, what was lost can also be found. And I think that's a common thread throughout this movie. And the way you find it may not be the way that you assumed it would happen. And that's one of the things that I love about the journey of Mufasa, but also the complex characters that he meets throughout his way.
You know what, can I say one more thing? Because as the director, theoretically, I'm the king of the movie. But I love that you used the word rule, because I don't think that my directing style is to rule over the movie. Joy is here with me, and she's there with me all the time. I want to know what she thinks, the cinematographer, the production designer. I want to know what they think, because oftentimes they're thinking much better things than me. And it's important that if it's the best idea, it is the idea that makes it into the film.
Sempre il compositore e il regista di questo fantastico capolavoro Disney hanno raccontato in un'intervista come hanno reso tutto ciò possibile, ovvero il racconto di Mufasa del suo viaggio attraverso le canzoni.
Yeah, it's interesting. So much of this film is about sort of like the birth, the rebirth of Mufasa. He goes through this really biblical event, with this great turbulent flood and is separated from his parents. Then there's this moment where he's sort of like floating in anywhere and everywhere, and he's sort of making this journey to the surface, and all these lights are changing. And he comes above the surface, and then he continues that journey. And I love that Lynn and Jeff Nathanson, our screenwriter, they're not trying to be intellectual about sort of charting that journey, but I do think emotionally that is exactly what's happening to the character for me.
Yeah, and again, credit to Jeff Nathanson's screenplay. It was very clear where the songs went in this movie, when the songs carry the emotional real estate. In a musical, when the emotion is heightened, you burst into song, and that was, I was really proud and grateful of the moments that music got to carry the ball in this film. I have three important beta testers in my life, my wife and my two children. And if I catch my kids singing the song that they heard Daddy working on in his office, I know I'm on the right track. And then I also have to give enormous credit to Lebo M and Mark Mancina, who worked on the original film, worked on the Broadway musical. I knew that their arrangements would make sure my music belonged in the world of The Lion King. So it was enormous fun collaborating with them once I had the songs.
It's a perfect teamwork, and I know that the movie talks about also trauma. How do you think music can help? It's a question for both of you. can help to heal in that difficult times, and how the songs in this sense affect Mufasa.
I mean, you know, one of the extraordinary privileges of my life is that I have a lot of music out in the world now, and I get a lot of messages from folks, whether it's folks who are going through a hard time, but the Hamilton soundtrack was 2.5 hours of respite from that, or whether something I wrote in a song, I'm thinking of Surface Pressure and Encanto, really spoke to the specificity of their circumstance so that they felt less alone. I know a lot of older siblings who felt very seen by Surface Pressure. I really wrote that as a love letter to my own older sister, who took a lot of the emotional bumps and bruises so that her little brother could have it easier. And so, you know, I think that's the thing that's extraordinary about music is we can't see it, we can't touch it, and yet if you examined our brains while we're listening to it, it lights up both hemispheres. It lives in both the short-term and long-term parts of our brain forever. It's one of those things that just focuses all of us, and I'm very, very grateful I get to work with it for a living.
I think cinema in particular is like a very potent vessel for music. I think when you hear a song for the first time and it's paired to imagery, there's something very powerful about that. You know, this film I made of Bill Street Could Talk has a song called Agape, and that when we made that piece of music, I thought it was a lovely piece of music, and we paired it with this montage. It has voiceover. I thought it was meaningful to me. I had no idea what was going to happen when the score was released, and how people were using it in their own lives in a similar way to how we use it in the film. Then you add a musical number, you know, people actually singing their emotions, their hopes, their dreams. It's just a very, very potent vessel. And so when Lin came onto the project, you know, I just knew, because he's so pure in his intent, that we were gonna have these songs that just were gonna speak to people in a very deep and powerful way.
Ma andiamo ora a sentire chi ha dato la voce a Mufasa nella versione originale, ovvero Aaron Pierre nella premiere tenutasi ad Hollywood.
Wow, it's a beautiful moment. So many individuals have showed up today, alone or with their families or with their friends, their loved ones, just to come and celebrate and contribute to this beautiful energy that has been growing since Mufasa the Lion King was announced. I'm truly grateful, over the moon, and I'm having a really wonderful time. It was a gift. It was an absolute gift. Lin-Manuel Miranda is elite at what he does. He is a beautiful artist. His artistry is phenomenal. And to have the opportunity, to be gifted the opportunity to put my take on one of his songs is just something that I'm deeply grateful for and will cherish forever. Well, I think one of the most beautiful things about this film is that we get to discover who the characters that we love so very much and who we cherish so very much, who they were as adolescents. I like to describe this film as one where we meet these characters and they're not quite in their bodies yet. It kind of feels like they're wearing shoes that are like 2 sizes too big, and there's something very endearing about that. There's something very joyful about that. So hopefully we get deeper insight into these characters and can go and watch the original again with a newfound insight.
È sempre bello capire chi c'è dietro a questi personaggi, e da oggi 19 dicembre nelle sale italiane sentiremo la voce di Luca Marinelli per quanto riguarda Mufasa, di Elodie per Sarabi e di Alberto Boubacar Malanchino per Taka. Andiamo a vedere l'intervista.
Io in realtà un po' l'ho accennato prima, insomma l'abbiamo condiviso, secondo me le storie in generale sono di vitale importanza nell'elaborazione dei lutti, dei drammi, dei traumi. Una storia che in assenza di queste cose, anche in un modo delicato, piccolo, non sono storie che aiutano realmente in una crescita, secondo me. Ma basta vedere, dai, RE Leone, la perdita di un genitore, il percorso di legittimazione, la crescita, che cosa vuol dire il tradimento, fino ad arrivare alle storie più antiche, cioè si parte veramente da Caino e Abele e si arriva alla Disney, ma perché fa proprio parte dell'essere umano. Quindi sì, possono aiutare però non solamente i piccoli. Ecco, questo secondo me infatti è un grande tema, secondo me, no? Che a volte uno pensa, no, ma i cartoni, live action sono fatti solamente per una certa generazione. Dove sta scritto? Non è vero. Secondo me, ad esempio, il percorso che fa il mio personaggio è un percorso che è molto più in linea con degli adulti che magari guardano se stessi e capiscono la responsabilità che hanno nei confronti di una generazione più piccola. Ecco, tanto per dire.
Questa era la risposta. No, non ce ne stanno altre, credo.
No, è vero.
No.
Lui in questo...
Beh,
Ma per forza.
prontissimo.
Eravamo preparati, ci siamo coalizzati.
No, mi piace questa cosa per le serie di vite. C'è un altro aspetto che è molto interessante, che probabilmente in Mufasa si vede ancora di più che nel Re Leone, in cui le colpe sono a metà e metà, nel senso che i genitori hanno le proprie colpe, però poi la responsabilità delle proprie azioni ce l'abbiamo noi. Quindi quanto è importante secondo voi questo aspetto del film?
Qua ce l'avresti sempre tu la risposta.
Però,
non è che mi ricordo altre risposte, potrei
agganciarle.
No, beh, nel senso, vediamo, diciamo, come dire, vediamo il punto di partenza, vediamo da dove uno parte, vediamo il nucleo dal quale si comincia, diciamo. Lo vediamo per esempio all'inizio con Mufasa, poi non possiamo dire niente, quindi possiamo dire poco. Però lo vediamo all'inizio con Mufasa, poi lo vediamo bene in Taka, perché Mufasa arriva nella vita di Taka, e vediamo Taka dov'è, le sue difficoltà e come lui poi, perdonami, ma come lui poi elaborerà tutto quanto, senza avere, diciamo, una vera e propria guida in una qualche maniera. E come Mufasa, ma avendo anche una sensibilità diversa da Mufasa, e come Mufasa invece vivendo un altro aspetto parallelissimo alla vita di Taka, come lui invece intraprende un altro tipo di cammino. Però sostanzialmente vengono dallo stesso posto, ma hanno esperienze diverse. Noi vediamo appunto uno dei due fratelli crescere con il gruppo, diciamo, dei leoni,
Predestinato.
Così, il predestinato, e quell'altro mandato, diciamo, con il gruppo delle leonesse, però grazie a questo poi lui diventerà Mufasa.
Come ha imparato Mufasa.
Diciamolo.
Beh, creare una comunità è tutto, perché creare una casa, un posto sicuro, e ognuno ha un ruolo in un posto sicuro, e ognuno di noi, cioè, perlomeno parlo per Sarabi, lei è brava ad osservare, capisce benissimo qual è il suo posto.
E ora, per salutarci, vi lascio alle immagini suggestive proiettate in una delle location più iconiche di Roma, le terme di Caracalla. Qui uno show spettacolare organizzato da Disney Italia insieme alla Soprintendenza Speciale di Roma, protagonisti Barry Jenkins e le voci italiane del film. Io intanto vi do appuntamento al cinema con le prossime uscite e sempre buona visione con Soggettiva.